Hello. Today we are going to be working on function notation. So, before we get into function notation, let's go over what it is. First off, this is a function. We have y equals x squared plus 2. So this represents a function. Function notation basically says that we can change y to f of x. In this way, f of x still equals y, so it still stays the same. But whatever is in our parentheses here is going to become our x on the right. So this basically looks the same right here because it's still an x, which still equals still an x. But when we get down to here, we have an equation where x should be. So we have x plus 1. So now we have f of x plus 1 equals x squared plus 2. So as I'm sure you've been seeing as we work in class, you're going to take this x plus 1 and plug it in for this x, or wherever you see an x. So for this right here, it's going to represent now x plus 1 squared plus 2 still. So when we come down here now, we have x plus 1 equals x plus 1 times x plus 1, because something squares is times itself. Still though, plus 2. Can't forget that plus 2. A lot of you are doing that. So now, let's come over here real quick. So FOIL means first, outer, inner, last. So let's look at this real quick. So first means you times the first two numbers. Outer means you times the outer two numbers. Inner, you times the inner two numbers. And last, you times what's left. Alright, so we have first, outer, inner, last. So step below this, I have written x times x equals x squared. 1 times x equals x. X times 1 equals x. 1 times 1 equals 1. So we simplify this now, we have x squared plus 2x plus 1. So let's insert this back into our equation over here. And we have everything correct, except we still have to add that plus 2 back. So instead of 1, we're going to actually have plus 3. And then this right here will be our final answer. So for whenever f of x plus 1 for this equation, it's going to equal this. Alright? So let's take it a step further and make it just a little bit more complicated. So this time we have f of x squared plus 1 equals x squared plus x. So this time we have two x's on the right. So we got to take our x squared plus 1 and plug it in for both of those. So let's see the next step right here. We're going to rewrite the equation as x squared plus 1 squared plus x squared plus 1. So we replaced it for both of these x's. So again, we're going to have to use our FOIL method here. So if we have x squared plus 1 times x squared plus 1 plus x squared plus 1. It's a mouthful, I know. So we had x squared times x squared, which remember your exponent rule. If you have the same bases and different exponents, or even the same exponents, when you're multiplying, you're going to add them. So we have x squared times x squared, which ends up being 2 plus 2, which gives us the 4. Right here we have x squared times 1, which is x squared. 1 times x squared again, which is going to give us x squared. And then 1 times 1, which will give us 1. So we have x to the 4th plus x squared plus 1. But then we can't remember that, can't forget that last part. We have x squared plus 1 again, which we just keep bringing down. So when we simplify this all together, we have x to the 4th plus 3x, because 2 here and 1 here, plus 2, because we have plus 1 plus 1. And then that is going to be our final equation, final answer for our equation. So now, I want to go ahead and create a problem and let you try on your own before I solve it. So let's say alright. So go ahead and pause now if you'd like to try this one first before I start working it out. Alright? Here we go. So first off, we have to take this and plug it in for our x value right here. So let's go ahead and do our step of rewriting first. So I'm going to take a board right here. So now we have x squared plus x times x squared plus x, because remember, we had this squared, plus that 1 still, which we have to bring down to remember. So using our FOIL now, and our exponent rule, we have to know that x squared times x squared is going to be x to the 4th plus x squared times x, which would be x cubed, plus x times x squared would be x cubed, plus x times x would be x squared. Got to bring down this guy still, plus 1. But now we can still combine some stuff to simplify it even further. So we have x to the 4th plus 2x cubed, because we had 2 of them, plus x squared plus 1. And then this right here is going to be our final answer. Did you get that? Nice job. Alright. There you go.